right, we are here with Emily, and she is going to be helping me through a number of exercises. So, before we begin, I want to just check in with you and your body. Do you have any injuries? Do you have any pain? Do you have anything going on in your body?
No injuries and no pains.
Good, feeling good,
Yes.
ready to work.
Yes.
All right, Emily's been working out for a while with Pilates, so she's good to go. Later in the videos, I worked with Dawn. I did check in with her as well about her body. I don't know if we recorded it because she had to leave early because of the snowstorm, but just letting you know, I did check in with her. She had no injuries, no pain. And are you good with hands-on corrections?
Yes.
Perfect. So I also asked her about that. So before we begin, I'm going to talk about a couple things with Pilates. So Pilates, we're going to be looking at a big thing about Pilates is your alignment, is your breath work, all right, and also just the alignment part. So you're going to be, there's something called a plumb line. So I'm going to be looking, the plumb line is your ear to your shoulder, to your hips, your knee, to your ankle. So often I'm going to be cueing about alignment during our exercises, making sure, for example, your neck is staying in alignment with your spine, that your knees are staying in alignment with those feet. So we're just going to be working on those different things. So I just want to mention that. And then a couple things to mention. So we'll have a neutral spine or an imprinted spine. So a neutral spine is where you're going to just have the natural curve of your back. We're not going to be arching really bad. You're not going to be pressing in really hard. Imprinting, on the other hand, would be where you're pressing that spine down a little bit into that mat. It helps with that pelvic stability. So we'll be using those terms during out, and I think that's it. So we'll go ahead and get ready to get started on our first exercise. All right, we're going to begin with our first exercise here on the mat. All right, so first one's going to be an open kinetic chain. So what that means is you're going to have a body part that is free in the air. All right, so this first exercise that I chose is going to be toe taps. I'm going to have you begin by laying down supine on the mat. Beautiful, right? Perfect. Your arms are long, those palms are pressing into the mat, helping you with that stability. Nice. Your pelvis is neutral. Your spine can be neutral, or if you want to have that imprint, we can do that. So I'm going to have you bring those legs up into tabletop. We're going to have them just about hip width distance apart. Beautiful. You're pointing those toes. All right. So with the toe taps, this movement is hip motivated, or hip generated. So that movement is coming from your hips, not your knees. All right. So you're going to take a deep breath in. On that exhale, you're going to begin lowering this left foot down towards beautiful, using that hip, flexing that hip, and then flex that hip, lifting it back up. Now let's try the right leg. Lowering down, tapping that toe as if you're checking if it's cold water in the pool, and then raising it back up. Let's try that one more time on the left side. Lowering down, great control, and lifting back up. And once again, on the opposite side. Beautiful, nicely done. All right, now we're going to move on. Second exercise is a closed kinetic chain. So the closed kinetic chain is where all the body parts are fixed to, in this situation, we're going to be fixed on the mat. So the exercise I have chosen for you is the plank. So why don't we begin as if we were in class. Let's have you sweep those arms up. Beautiful. Then you're going to fold over, dive down, hands meeting that mat. You're going to go ahead and walk out those hands. And then I know you like to lower down to the mat. So go ahead, lower down to the mat. Beautiful. We're keeping those elbows right underneath those shoulders. Beautiful. Those legs are about, they're parallel, about hip width distance apart. Yeah, that looks great. Beautiful. So you're already in that movement. I'm going to have you just lift that head gaze up just a little bit right in front of, beautiful, that neck, keeping that neck in alignment with your spine. You look beautiful. Keep that breath going. Inhaling and out, exhaling. your glutes are turned on, your hamstrings are on, and that upper back, so that posterior chain is working. Let's hold this, keep breathing for 3 more seconds. 1, 2, 3. Then go ahead, lower down those knees and send those hips back. You can find a nice child's pose here to relax, counter-stretch. Beautiful. Moving on, we're gonna go to our next exercise, which is, we're gonna have 3 exercises that are for spinal flexion here. So the first one we're gonna do is our spine stretch. This is a beginner level exercise. So we've already properly placed you here. You have your legs are abducted just a little bit wider than your shoulders. Beautiful. All right, we're going to dorsiflex those toes, so the toes are those ankles, those toes are pointing towards the ceiling. Beautiful. I'm going to have you lift those arms up to shoulder height. Beautiful. So again, we're finding spinal flexion here. So take a deep breath in. On that exhale, begin folding over. Nice. Reaching those arms forward, keeping that head, those ears kind of in alignment with those arms, finding that beautiful spinal flexion. You can take a couple breaths here, try to deepen that stretch. Beautiful. And then you're going to begin lifting up through that back body, one bone at a time, articulating up until you find that nice neutral spine once again. Excellent. You can go ahead and lower that down, and we will be moving on. Beautiful. Emily, you're already in position for our next spinal flexion exercise. This is going to be an intermediate level exercise, and this is going to be called the roll up. All right. So right now we have your legs are parallel, about hip width distance apart. Your toes are pointed. Your arms are extended long overhead. So legs and arms are extended long. Beautiful. All right. So to begin, we're going to have your pelvis and your spine are in neutral right now. All right. So you're going to begin taking a deep breath in as you lift those arms. Inhale. As they get to those ears, you're going to find that exhale, tuck that chin, lift that head, neck, and shoulders up. Beautiful. And then folding over. Finding that flexion here in your spine. Beautiful. We're also lengthening those hamstrings. I'm sure you feel that. Beautiful. And then now you can begin, tuck that pelvis, begin articulating up. Keep those shoulders down, relax, beautiful. And then tuck that pelvis, roll down, lower back, middle back, shoulders meeting that mat, and then head last and arms extended over once again. Beautiful. So that's our intermediate level spinal exercise. We have one more exercise here with the spinal flexion. So this is our third exercise, which is going to be a little bit more difficult. The name of this one is rolling like a ball. All right, our last exercise here is going to be an advanced movement for spinal flexion. So we're already finding yourself seated on the mat. Beautiful. You're going to bring those knees in, tuck those knees in, and you're going to wrap those hands right around those shins. You're going to tuck that chin, and right now we're finding that your spine, your pelvis, and those knees are in a flexed position. All right, that pelvis is tilted posteriorly. Very nice. So let's lift these feet up off, and this is going to be our starting and ending position. All right, so we're going to be using that motion to roll back and then to lift back up. So take that, you'll be doing the inhale as you roll back. All right, so prepare, and then when you're ready, begin rolling back onto the thoracic spine, then lifting back up. Beautiful. Finding that balance, using those abdominals. Absolutely beautiful. You're back in that starting position. Let's try this one more time. Let's roll back and lifting. Use those abdominals. Beautiful. Pausing there. Absolutely beautiful. Relax. Excellent. All right, next exercise is a prone exercise with spinal extension. all right? And the first one, we're gonna do 2 exercises, but the first one here is gonna be intermediate level. It's a swan, the name of the exercise is swan. So we already have you in prone position, facing towards the mat. Your legs are already set here about shoulder width apart. We're gonna laterally rotate them out a bit. That's gonna help with this lower back. All right, now you're gonna find those hands. You're gonna spread those hands out a little bit. Let's line them up, kind of like with your nose there. Beautiful. Elbows are bent. All right, excellent. So we're looking for spinal extension here. So on that inhale, I want you to begin extending those arms long while you're lifting that chest. That gaze is coming up just forward, just to here. Beautiful. Finding that nice spinal extension here, that upper back mobility. It's a great exercise for that. That pelvis is pressing into the mat. The abdominals are pulling up. Great. On that exhale, go ahead and lower back down. Absolutely beautiful. Let's do that one more time. On that inhale, press through those hands. That gaze comes up to forward. Those shoulders are back and down. Excellent. Excellent extension through here. Very nice. Flex those elbows and begin lowering down on that exhale. Nicely done. And relax. All right, this next exercise is an advanced movement for that spinal extension, and this is called the double leg kick. So again, a prone position. All right, so to get you in that position, your legs are gonna be long. They're gonna be together just as you have them. Beautiful. Now, you're gonna lower down and you're gonna bring those hands around and stack them here on your back. All right, and you can interlace those hands if you like, or you can just keep them like that. Now your gaze will come towards me and you'll lower that head down. Very nice, beautiful. So right now that spine and pelvis is neutral, and we're gonna find extension with that spine. So the movement is going to be, I'm gonna just first have you begin. We're gonna do, or I'll tell you what it is and then we'll go do it. We're gonna do 3 kicks. On that third kick is when we're gonna find some extension. So the legs are gonna be long and you're gonna be lifting those. As you lift that chest up, that gaze will be forward and you're gonna extend those arms, finding that nice extension, upper back mobility here. All right, your shoulders are okay, no issues with those, beautiful. All right, because this does stress these shoulders just a little bit. All right, so legs are long, prepare. All right, on that inhale, you'll begin, oh, actually no, before we do that, I wanna have you kick those legs 2 times. On that third one, beautiful. Third one, extend those legs, begin lifting that chest, extend those arms, beautiful. Have that gaze come up just a little, have it come up a little bit more, beautiful. Finding that extension here, upper back mobility, beautiful. Now go ahead and lower down. Those hands come back. That gaze is now going to go off to the right and lower back down and relax. Beautiful. So we're going to do the same exact thing, but now we're going to be facing in the opposite direction and finding that lift. All right, are you ready? Beautiful. All right, let's kick 2 times. 1, 2 for that double leg kick. Beautiful. This third one, extend, lift that chest, extend those arms long, lift that gaze just a little bit. Beautiful, great extension here. Nice. And then go ahead, lower down and relax. Nicely done. All right. Now we are going to be working on some spinal lateral flexion here. All right, so this exercise is called Mermaid, and we can do this on multiple different apparatuses, but right now we're going to do this on the mat. So to begin, we already have you sitting in that Z-sit position, all right? And we're going to begin let's extend those arms out. Let's place that palm up towards the ceiling. Let's roll those shoulders down and back, and that head is reaching towards the ceiling. On that inhale, you're extending that head, beautiful. Now, on that exhale, I'm gonna have you begin lowering this hand, finding a big rainbow of that arm, and then reaching, beautiful, finding that lateral flexion here. Excellent. Through your spine, great. Those obliques are working. Now, using those obliques, you're gonna lift back up, lowering that arm down, and then let's find a counter stretch here. Beautiful. And then lifting back up into that neutral spine position. Beautiful. All right, next exercise, Emily, is going to be an exercise that finds some rotation here. All right, so spinal rotation. The name of this exercise is going to be crisscross. You're going to be working those abdominals, but we're finding that twist here in that midsection. All right, so I'm going to have you go ahead and lay back down in a supine position. Beautiful. Those legs can be long for the moment. All right, your spine and your pelvis are in neutral at the moment, but we are going to be lifting up here in a second. So I want to begin by having those arms go behind your head. Those elbows are out wide. You can kind of lightly place those hands behind those ears. Beautiful. Let's bring these legs up into tabletop. All right, beautiful. All right, now we're going to extend, let's extend this left leg long there at a 45-degree angle, keeping this right leg in tabletop. So again, we're going to be finding that rotation here through that midsection. You're going to tuck that chin, lift that head, neck, and shoulders, and you're going to think about bringing your shoulder towards your knee, not just your elbow. So that way it'll deepen that twist. So you're going to begin, go ahead and lift up on the beautiful shoulder to knee, and your gaze goes down towards that armpit. Then on that inhale, go ahead and lower back down to center. Let's bring the opposite leg into tabletop, extending the opposite leg long at a 45. This side, go ahead and lift up, finding that rotation through that midsection. Great, your gaze is down. Go ahead and lower back down on that inhale. Let's do it one more time. Let's lift up, extend this leg long, shoulder to knee, looking down, beautiful. Lower back down, and then extend that opposite leg, bringing this shoulder, beautiful, gaze is down, and then lowering back down, legs back to tabletop, and lower that head, and lower those feet. Nicely done. All right, moving on to our side lying exercise here. So we have two side lying exercises that we're going to do here on the mat. The first one we're going to do is clam. So to get you into proper position, we have added the ball here, and I'm going to have you lay down on your side facing towards me. That ball can go underneath your head, kind of have it more on your temple than your ear so you can hear me. This lower hand can kind of wrap around the ball. This top hand can be here right for stability. Those hips are stacked, those knees are bent, kind of stack those, and we're going to be keeping those feet together. So your pelvis and spine are in neutral, and we're going to try with this exercise to continue to keep them in neutral. All right, so it's pretty simple movement. All right, you're going to inhale to prepare. On that exhale, you're going to be separating these knees, lifting that knee up, beautiful, and then lowering it back down. So you can continue there. I want you to think about lifting there, beautiful. We're using those obliques to lift, beautiful, and then continue here. Great hip mobility exercise. Using that breath, excellent. Exhale as you lift, inhale as you lower, continuing to use those obliques, beautiful. One more. Beautiful, and go ahead and lower down. Nicely done. Another side lying exercise here. We're having you in a similar position as clam. This one is going to be leg raises. All right, so same similar position, except this time we have moved the positioning of your legs. So your legs are long, kind of reaching across the front of this mat here. All right, and we're going to be flexing, dorsiflexing those ankles, so those, beautiful, those feet are flexed. Same positioning up here. We're going to continue to use those obliques to lift up. You're using those transverse abdominals to keep that pelvis nice and stable. Your spine and your pelvis are again in neutral. All right, so to begin, All right, are you ready? Good. All right, so to begin, you're simply lifting, abducting this leg, lifting it up, keep that bottom leg down, and we'll lift this top leg, and that's probably good enough, keeping that flexed, and then lowering it back down. Beautiful, and then lifting, keeping those obliques, another exercise for that hip mobility, and lowering, and we'll do one more, beautiful, lifting, and lowering. Nicely done. The last exercise here on the mat is going to be open leg rocker. All right, so it's a little bit tough it's a tough exercise. It focuses on balance. It's going to focus on that core. All right, and so to begin, we are going to have you're in the seated position. All right, we are going to be lifting those legs up, abduct them, opening them up, finding those hands, and you're comfortable, I think, with those hands on those ankles. Beautiful. So you're going to tuck that pelvis a little bit. You're finding this lower lumbar spine flexed. This thoracic spine is in neutral. All right. So the idea is to roll back. All right, and then using that momentum, using those abdominals, you're going to be lifting back up and finding this balanced position. So I'm going to assist you here because it is a tough exercise to do. So you're going to inhale as you roll back, and then you're going to exhale as you lift. All right, so go ahead and prepare. All right, and when you're ready, you're going to tilt that pelvis and roll back. And then lifting back up, 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 find that balance, beautiful. Lumbar spine back in a little bit of a flex position, so tilt that pelvis just a little bit. The thoracic is back in neutral, beautiful. We're gonna try that one more time. You've got this, catch yourself. All right, ready? You'll begin by tilting that pelvis just a little bit, rolling back, and then lifting, 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 finding that balance. Yes, yes, tilt that pelvis just a little bit. You got it, and then roll back down. Good job. I know that's hard. Good job. Excellent.